Have you ever been stuck in traffic and wondered how these massive highways came to be? So if you're curious about the fascinating world of highway construction, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Highway construction is a significant effort that calls for tremendous planning, organization, and funding. A motorway building project may take years to complete, from the first survey to the last phase of construction, but the ultimate product is a crucial infrastructure that unites communities, promotes trade, and make it possible for people to move effectively and safely. In this video, we'll examine the construction of a motorway from the first design phases through the actual road paving. We'll also examine more closely at the tools and supplies used in building highways, as well as the difficulties that construction workers encounter. Any public or private road or other public route on land is referred to as a motorway. It encompasses various public roads and public tracks in addition to being utilized for main routes. It's used as a synonym for controlled access highway or as a translation for autobahn, autoroute, etc. in various parts of the United States. The phrase has been in use before the 12th century, according to Merriam-Webster. The definition of high, as given by Etymonline, is major. Major roads like controlled access motorways or arterial roads are frequently referred to as state highways in North American and Australian English. In Canada, provincial highways. In the US and Ontario, several other routes could be referred to as county highways. These categories describe the tier of government, like state, province, or county, in charge of maintaining the road. Highway is largely a legal phrase in British English. The legal use includes any route or path with a public right of access, including footpaths, although everyday usage often refers to roadways. Highway system, highway code, highway patrol, and highwaymen are some of the related derivative phrases that have sprung from this term. The governments that usually designate and maintain major roadways are frequently responsible for naming and numbering them. At a length of almost 14,500 kilometers, Australia's Highway 1 is the world's longest national roadway. It virtually circles the whole continent. The United States of America is closely followed in terms of the size of the world's roadway network by China. Many roadways cross numerous nations, such as the Pan-American Highway and the European routes. Ferry services are available on a few key highways, including U.S. Highway 10, which spans Lake Michigan. Highways were mostly traveled on foot or by horses. Eventually, because of improvements in road design, they could also accommodate carriages, bicycles, and later motor automobiles. Several countries started making significant investments in ever more up-to-date highway networks in the 1920s and 1930s to boost trade and strengthen national security. Large contemporary thoroughfares that link populated developed and developing nation cities typically include elements aimed at improving the road's capacity, efficiency, and safety to varying degrees. Reduced user access points, dual carriageways with 2 or more lanes in each, and grade-separated connections with other roadways and means of transportation are a few examples of these features. Let's now start by looking at the history of highways. Roads have been around for thousands of years, but it wasn't until the 20th century that highways began to take shape. With the rise of the automobile, the need for better roads became apparent. In the 1950s, the United States government launched the National System of Interstate and Defense Highways, which aimed to create a vast network of highways to connect the country. Almost 46,000 miles of roadways make up the U.S. interstate highway system today, which is a crucial part of the country's transportation infrastructure. Yet how is a highway constructed? Designing and planning come first. Together, engineers and architects design the roadway project's blueprint. They take into account things like location, temperature, transportation patterns, and the effects on the environment. It may take several years to finish the design process. Once the design is finalized, construction can begin. This is where the real work starts. Clearing the land is the initial stage. Trees, boulders, and other obstructions are removed from the course of the motorway by construction workers. Afterwards, they begin to excavate the region, preparing the ground for the highway's future roadbed. The road surface is then constructed. In most cases, gravel is laid down first, then asphalt or concrete, and so forth. Guardrails and other safety elements are installed once the road surface is finished. Depending on the size of the project, building might take anywhere from a few months to many years. Building bridges is one of the most spectacular accomplishments of roadway construction. To guarantee that bridges are reliable and safe, specialist engineering and materials are needed. To lift and position large bridge components, construction workers employ cranes, trucks, and other heavy equipment. The highway is examined for safety and quality control when construction is finished. To keep the motorway operating properly, routine upkeep and repairs are also necessary. To ensure that drivers can travel safely, workers examine the road surface for deterioration and fix potholes and markings as necessary. So that is how roads are developed. It's a difficult procedure that calls for a variety of knowledge and abilities. Nonetheless, the outcome is an essential infrastructure that unites communities, promotes trade, and makes it possible for people to move effectively and safely. Next time you're traveling on a highway, stop to consider the enormous amount of work that went into developing it. And that's a wrap on our journey into the world of highway construction. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the fascinating process of building these critical infrastructure projects. From the early planning stages to the final paving of the road, we've covered a lot of ground. In order to better understand how roadways have changed throughout time to accommodate evolving societal demands, we first looked at their history. In order to generate a blueprint for the motorway project, engineers and other specialists collaborate to plan and design it. Secondly, we took a closer look at the numerous tools and supplies utilized in highway building, ranging from large earth movers to specialist concrete and asphalt mixers. We also looked at the difficulties that construction workers encounter, including bad weather, constrained timelines, and safety issues. Lastly, we talked about the continual maintenance required to keep roads operating efficiently and safely for years to come. For the millions of drivers who depend on roadways every day, maintenance is essential, whether it's filling potholes, rebuilding damaged guardrails, or carrying out regular inspections. We hope you now have a greater understanding of the skill and labor that go into developing roads, as well as the critical function they provide in tying people and communities together. We appreciate you joining us on this adventure and hope to see you soon.